As dawn's first light grazes the ancient acacias, a primal struggle, far older than human civilization, begins anew. Not a breath of wind, not a sound. Death can strike at any moment, utterly without warning. On the African savanna, a lioness lies motionless. Her 300-pound frame presses flat against the sun-baked earth, every fiber of muscle coiled tight as a compressed spring. She has not eaten in 4 days. Ribs press sharp ridges beneath her faded, tawny coat. Her eyes, twin ambers, cold and unblinking, never leave the target ahead. Her cubs wait in distant scrub. Each one barely 3 months old. Today she must bring back food, or they will not survive the week. "40 yards ahead, a massive dark shape tears at the dry grass. Not an antelope, not a zebra. It is a Cape buffalo, widely regarded as the most dangerous prey animal on the African continent. Each adult Cape buffalo tips the scales at close to 2,000 pounds. Horns curved like forged steel scythes carry enough force to hurl a full-grown lion skyward. She has chosen her target with care, but this time, the chosen prey can kill the hunter. "130 feet. Too far. A lioness must close within 100 feet before she strikes. Beyond that distance, the game is lost before it starts." A 115 feet. The wind shifts. Dry grass mingles with the scent of buffalo dung. If the breeze reverses, her scent will betray everything. 100 feet. She freezes in place. 2 other lionesses, flanking from opposite sides, tighten the closing noose. Wing formation, a coordinated tactic honed across thousands of hunts. One second of stillness. Then she launches. "50 miles per hour peak velocity, sustained for only a few explosive seconds before her muscles begin to burn. Dust erupts in blinding clouds. The herd detonates into panic. Hooves pound the hardpan like rolling thunder. But the lead bull does not flee. He pivots on massive hooves, horns leveled straight at the attacker. 1,800 pounds of bone and muscle charges headlong into the assault. The lioness swerves a half-beat too slow. A horn rakes along her flank. The impact alone could shatter bone. Seven of every 10 hunts end precisely this way. In failure, in hunger, in blood and wounds. The buffalo survives. The lioness may not. But on the African savanna, raw hunger is not the only enemy that awaits. From the east, a chorus of whooping calls slices through the twilight air. Not one voice. 6, 7, perhaps 8 low-slung shadowy figures advance with deliberate purpose. Spotted hyenas. Their massive jaws generate a crushing bite force of 1100 psi, hundreds of pounds stronger than any lion's bite. They pulverize bones that lions cannot crack and must abandon. This is no fleeting skirmish over a single carcass. This is a war that has raged for 2 million years across the grasslands of Africa, and neither side has ever claimed absolute victory. Spotted hyenas live in tightly organized matriarchal societies. Females dominate males in every aspect of clan hierarchy, territory, and feeding order. They communicate through more than 11 distinct vocalizations, ranging from deep, guttural moans to shrill, piercing laughter that echoes for miles across the open plains. The lioness throws back her head and roars. The sound carries 5 miles across the open plain, shaking the air like a concussive blast. The hyena pack halts, retreats a few cautious steps. But they do not leave, they simply wait. The lioness must try again. This time she selects different prey, a herd of wildebeest drifting along the western ridge. Smaller than Cape buffalo, considerably faster, 50 miles per hour matching a lion stride for stride, but without the curved steel horns and the dangerous instinct to turn and fight. She closes the distance. The wing formation draws tighter. One young wildebeest drifts half a beat behind the rest of the herd, slower by a fraction. A fatal mistake. In under 3 seconds, the lioness explodes forward, seizes the shoulder of her prey with outstretched claws, and drags it to the ground. Dust billows skyward, obscuring everything. When it settles, the struggle is over. But on the savannah, victory is never complete. The whooping calls return. The hyenas circle back, more of them now. They have not come to fight. They have come to steal. The lioness eats with desperate haste, tearing flesh in ragged strips. Her eyes never leave the surrounding darkness where luminous green eyes watch intently, counting every mouthful that disappears. That is the iron law of the savannah. A kill does not guarantee a meal. Defending the prize against all comers, that is true survival. On the open plains of East Africa, raw muscle and iron patience alone determine who lives and who perishes before nightfall. The lioness has been shaped across millions of years of natural selection into the most refined terrestrial hunting machine on Earth, and even she fails 7 times out of 10. But terrestrial power, no matter how refined or how lethal, has its limits. There exist kingdoms on this planet where no roar can reach and no claw can threaten, where the hunter needs no muscle but something deeper, something far more ancient. "63 million square miles of surface, 25,000 islands scattered across the blue, one ocean, a realm where even a killing machine, 400 million years in the making, must flee from a mind sharper than its own. If, on the savannah, power belongs to the strongest body, then beneath the ocean, Power belongs to the most intelligent mind. This is the story of the wild Pacific. The Pacific Ocean, the single largest body of water on Earth, stretches from the frozen Arctic to the windswept Antarctic, covering nearly 1/3 of the planet's entire surface. But not all waters are alike. Some regions are liquid desert devoid of life, devoid of sound, devoid of hope. Others erupt with biological force that defies easy explanation. The coast of Japan is one of the most biologically dynamic places on the planet. From the south, the Kuroshio current carries warm tropical water along the archipelago with staggering speed and heat temperatures between 68 and 77 degrees Fahrenheit. From the north, the frigid, mineral-rich Kuroshio current descends from the Bering Sea and the Sea of Okhotsk, carrying water at a mere 37 to 46 degrees Fahrenheit. Where these two great currents collide, something wondrous occurs. Warm water clashes violently against cold. Nutrients, locked in the deep, are thrust upward toward the sunlit surface. Algae bloom in vast emerald clouds. Plankton populations explode by the billions. And from this single oceanographic collision, the entire food chain ignites. The Kuroshio-Kuroshio convergence zone, where biological productivity runs 2 to 5 times higher than surrounding waters, stands as one of Earth's greatest oceanographic phenomena. Beneath this seemingly placid surface, each layer of water forms its own kingdom. Each species occupies a precise role in the hierarchy, and the ocean does not belong to the strongest. It belongs to the most cunning. But to understand who truly commands the apex of the ocean's hierarchy, one must first descend to the lowest tier, where the smallest creatures guard the greatest secrets. Begin at the coral reefs of Okinawa, a vast submerged city beneath the warm turquoise waters of southern Japan. Here, a creature smaller than a human finger holds the key to one of the most spectacular transformations in the entire natural world. Seen from above, a living coral reef resembles a sprawling metropolis, complete with wide boulevards, narrow alleyways, towering hard coral edifices, and fragile sea fan gardens swaying gently in the current. Okinawa harbors roughly 400 coral species, a level of diversity that ranks among the highest anywhere on Earth. The Sekisei Lagoon, stretching between Iriomote and Ishigaki, is the largest coral reef system in all of Japan. Though coral reefs cover less than 1% of the ocean floor, they shelter more than 1/4 of all known marine species. 1% of the area, yet 1/4 of all ocean life. No structure built by human hands has ever achieved such an arresting ratio. Every square inch of living reef is a fiercely contested territorial battleground among shrimp, crabs, bristleworms, snails, and hundreds of small fish species, all crammed into spaces smaller than a wardrobe. And amid this densely populated coral metropolis, one tiny resident glides effortlessly through the lethal tentacles of a sea anemone entirely unharmed. The clownfish, barely 4.5 inches long. Its bright orange and white colors blaze so vividly they border on deliberate provocation. Any other creature foolish enough to brush against an anemone's tentacles suffers instant and devastating paralysis. Thousands of stinging cells called nematocysts fire venom faster than a bullet. Yet the clownfish swims through them as though passing through its own front door. Because that is precisely what it is. A specialized glycoprotein mucus layer coats the clownfish's entire body, functioning as an invisible chemical shield, preventing the nematocysts from recognizing it as a viable target. Groundbreaking research from the Okinawa Institute of Science in 2025 revealed that the key mechanism lies in extremely low sialic acid levels within the mucus, rendering the clownfish invisible to the venom. In return, the clownfish diligently removes parasites and dead tissue from the anemone's tentacles, earning its shelter through constant service. Studies show that the presence of a clownfish accelerates anemone growth by 3 times thanks to constant fin movement, improving oxygen flow around the host. A flawless symbiotic pact written in the language of chemistry, requiring no words and no negotiation. But the clownfish's most stunning secret does not reside in its mucus coating. It resides in its sex. Each clownfish community follows a rigid social hierarchy. A single female, the largest individual, rules. One breeding male ranks directly beneath her. The remaining fish are non-breeding males, lined up in strict hierarchical order. Every single clownfish is born male, no exceptions. When the dominant female dies, the largest male does not seek a new mate. Testosterone levels in its body plummet. Estrogen surges through its bloodstream. Testicular tissue undergoes a complete metamorphosis into functional ovarian tissue. Within weeks, the male becomes a fully reproductive female, permanently and irreversibly. Science calls this protandrous hermaphroditism, a clinical term that barely captures the grandeur of one of nature's most spectacular biological metamorphoses. The next male in the hierarchy automatically ascends to breeding status. The cycle continues. No conflict, no competition, only biochemical precision as exact as clockwork. A creature smaller than a finger, living in the deadly embrace of a killer, possesses the extraordinary ability to rewrite its own biological design. In the ocean, survival does not belong to the largest or the fastest. Sometimes it belongs to the creature willing to transform its very essence, its biology, its identity when circumstances demand nothing less. The clownfish understood this truth long before Darwin ever wrote his first line. But the lowest tier of the ocean is not safe. Nowhere in the ocean is ever safe. Beyond the sheltering reef, where coral gives way to open water, life wears an entirely different face. Here, a reptile of immense antiquity carries on its armored back an instinct 200 million years old. A beach in southern Japan. Deep darkness. A massive dark form crawls slowly and heavily from the surf. Every step across the sand demands tremendous effort. A body engineered to glide through water now battles gravity on land. The loggerhead sea turtle, Caretta, a reptile that has navigated these waters since the age of dinosaurs. Tonight, this female returns to the very beach where she hatched perhaps 40 years ago, perhaps longer. Yakushima Island, Japan's largest and most vital loggerhead nesting ground, receives between 2,000 and 7,000 nests each breeding season. Every nesting season, volunteers stand guard through the night, protecting each egg from predators and artificial light. The mother excavates her nest slowly with both hind flippers like two patient spoons. She lays her eggs, covers them with sand, erases her tracks, and returns to the sea without looking back. From that precise moment, the fate of every buried egg depends on a single variable temperature. "45 to 70 days later, the sand begins to stir with movement from below. Dozens of hatchlings, each no larger than a human palm, claw their way upward and emerge from the nest. A single overriding instinct drives every hatchling forward, race toward the reflected shimmer of moonlight on the ocean surface. They scramble toward the water, if one can call the desperate flailing of a tiny, fragile body across open sand scrambling. But between nest and sea stretches a miniature and merciless desert filled with enemies. Seabirds dive from above. Ghost crabs lurk in the moonlit shadows. The distance from nest to water may be only 100 feet, but for a hatchling weighing less than an ounce, those 100 feet become a marathon between life and death. Of every 1,000 hatchlings that claw their way to the surface, perhaps only one will survive long enough to reach adulthood. The fortunate few will embark on one of nature's epic migrations, crossing the entire Pacific on a round-trip journey of 7,500 miles to the distant shores of Baja California. That is the law of the ocean. But this cycle faces a growing threat, and the greatest danger comes not from birds or crabs. It comes from temperature. Sea turtles determine sex through incubation temperature. Warmer sands produce females, cooler sands produce males. The pivotal threshold sits at roughly 84 degrees Fahrenheit. If temperatures rise by just a few degrees, entire generations will skew more than 90% female. A species will lose its capacity to reproduce normally. The equation is terrifying precisely because it is so simple. But beneath the sunlit coral canopy, deeper still, where light begins to fade and colors drain away, something watches, not with curiosity, with hunger. And even the most finely tuned predator harbors a fear of its own. That fear will surface, but not yet. A single dorsal fin slices the waterline, slow, steady, like a blade drawn deliberately across silk. "20 feet long, over 2 tons, more than 50 triangular teeth stacked in rotating rows when one falls. Another slides forward to replace it. A conveyor belt of weaponry that never stops. The great white shark, Carcharodon carcharias, is a creature that 400 million years of relentless evolution have sculpted and refined into a near-perfect killing instrument. "400 million years before the first dinosaurs appeared, before trees had even colonized the barren land, the ancestors of modern sharks already prowled the dark primordial oceans. And while everything around them changed, continents collided and drifted apart, ice ages came and went, 5 catastrophic mass extinctions erased the vast majority of life sharks endured. The great white itself is only about 16 million years old, but its lineage is the legacy of 400 million years of natural selection. Its body is engineered with a precision no human designer could improve. The jaw holds roughly 300 teeth in total, with 50 always active in the front row, triangular, scalpel sharp. Over the course of a lifetime, a single great white may cycle through thousands upon thousands of teeth, but what makes this species truly fearsome extends far beyond weaponry alone. The great white is endothermic warm-blooded, an exceedingly rare trait among fish. A complex network of blood vessels called the rete mirabile keeps its body warmer than the surrounding water. Muscles fire harder and with greater endurance. Reflexes sharpen to a predatory edge. The brain processes sensory information faster than any cold-blooded rival. In the frigid waters surrounding Hokkaido, where winter temperatures routinely drop below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, the great white's body remains an engine heated and sustained from within. The electroreceptor system on its snout, called the ampullae of Lorenzini, detects electric fields as faint as 5 billionths of a volt per centimeter, sensitive enough to read the heartbeat of prey buried beneath sand. But the most formidable weapon in the great white's arsenal is not the sensor array. It is the tactic. The breach, the single most spectacular hunting technique in the entire ocean. The shark descends deep beneath its unsuspecting prey, usually a seal swimming at the surface. Then it looks up. The prey appears as a dark silhouette against a bright sky. From below, the seal is nothing but a shadow on shimmering water, a perfect target, nowhere to hide. Then the shark accelerates vertically 25 miles per hour. 2 tons of muscle launch upward like a living torpedo. The seal never sees the shadow rising beneath it, never has time to react. Jaws slam shut. Gravity seizes both bodies and pulls them back into the deep. Not every breach succeeds, but when one does, no prey gets a second chance. A great white's natural lifespan can exceed 70 years, spanning longer than most chapters of recorded human history. Recent scientific studies reveal that great whites possess distinct individual personalities, unexpectedly complex social behaviors, and even engage in social foraging, learning the location of productive feeding grounds from one another. If an engineer were tasked with designing the perfect underwater killing machine, optimal hydrodynamics, a multi-layered sensor suite, self-replacing weaponry, the final product would look exactly like a great white shark. But not every ocean predator chooses to single out one target at a time. In the warm Pacific waters, another apex patrol emerges broad-headed, strong-jawed, teeth curved and serrated like the blades of a saw. The tiger shark. 16 feet of raw power and length. The predator with the widest dietary menu in the entire shark world. Fish, seabirds, sea turtles, stingrays, floating carrion, even debris discarded by human hands have all been found inside their stomachs. Not a picky eater, the ocean's supreme scavenger and apex enforcer. The tiger shark's constant presence creates a pervasive landscape of fear, preventing sea turtles and mugongs from overgrazing vulnerable seagrass beds, thereby shielding entire coastal ecosystems. When tiger sharks vanish from a region, seagrass meadows collapse in their wake, an invisible link in the chain that few observers ever notice. But even a predator refined across 400 million years harbors something to fear. And that something does not dwell in the midwater. It lives far deeper then, rises to the surface. "650 feet below the shimmering waterline, the mesopelagic zone. Light dims like the last embers of a dying fire. 1,600 feet darkness begins swallowing everything whole. "3,280 feet, the abyssal zone. Light vanishes completely, as though it never existed. Temperature hovers near freezing. Pressure builds to levels that would crush a conventional submarine like tinfoil. The Japan Trench does not stop at 3,000 feet. It keeps descending 6,000, 9,000, 16,000 to over 26,000 feet, just off the coast of Honshu. A fracture in the Earth's crust, so deep that if Mount Fuji were placed inside, its summit would still rest thousands of feet beneath the surface. Not far away lies the Mariana Trench, nearly 36,000 feet at the Challenger Deep, the deepest point on the planet. At these depths, darkness is not merely the absence of light. It is a physical presence, dense, heavy, absolute. No eye can see. No ear can hear in the conventional sense. Yet, the abyss is far from empty. It has a master. And that master does not use eyes to see or ears to hear. It uses sound, but a kind of sound no other creature on Earth can produce. 236 decibels, the loudest sound generated by any living organism on the face of this planet. From the abyss rises a single click, then another, then a continuous volley of percussive bursts. Each click penetrates the water column like living sonar, mapping the invisible world ahead. Longer than a city bus, heavier than 45 tons, the head alone occupies a full 1/3 of the body's total length, the largest toothed animal that has ever existed on this planet. The sperm whale, Physeter macrocephalus, the undisputed sovereign of the deep abyss. Inside that cavernous head sits the spermaceti organ, a biological reservoir holding tons of waxy oil unique among all living creatures. Its precise function remains a subject of vigorous scientific debate. But one thing researchers know with certainty, it is the source of the most powerful sound ever produced by a living creature. The sperm whale interprets returning echoes through specialized fat deposits in its lower jaw, constructing an intricate three-dimensional map of a world shrouded in total and permanent darkness. No eyes needed. It sees through sound alone. And the sperm whale's quarry at these crushing depths is the elusive giant squid. The clash between sperm whale and giant squid remains one of nature's greatest and most enduring unsolved mysteries. No camera has ever captured the encounter. No light reaches those depths. No human has ever witnessed it. Only evidence remains circular scars, the unmistakable imprint of sucker discs, etched deep into whale skin like medals earned in battle. Some scars span several inches across, proof that the adversary is no small opponent. Every single adult sperm whale bears these battle scars somewhere on its body. No exceptions. At invisible depths, titanic battles unfold in absolute and total silence. After a single dive, the recorded maximum reach is 7,380 feet. A sperm whale may rest at the surface for hours afterward, breathing deeply, recovering its depleted oxygen stores, and gazing at the open sky through eyes that seem impossibly small for such an immense body. Their social lives prove equally compelling and complex. Females and calves form tight-knit pods that travel together through warmer tropical waters. They defend one another with coordinated formations, nurse each other's young, and communicate through intricate click sequences that scientists have come to call codas. In 2024, groundbreaking research from MIT and Project CETI revealed that codas possess combinatorial structure resembling a phonetic alphabet with the potential to generate limitless combinations of meaning. A communication system bearing structural properties that are strikingly close to those of human language. Adult males follow a profoundly different path. They leave the safety of the pod, swimming alone into the frigid polar waters of the far north, solitary, enormous, and utterly silent. The sperm whale commands formidable physical power, unlike any other toothed predator. But it also carries a burden of profound solitude. And in the ocean, solitude is always a vulnerability. Because true dominion in the ocean does not belong to the strongest. It belongs to the most intelligent. And the most intelligent never hunts alone. If the ocean has left you speechless, share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you have not yet subscribed, now is the perfect time. But before the true ruler appears, one more species deserves its story, a predator that turned its bizarre anatomy into a flawless weapon. In the warm western Pacific, where coral reefs slope into submerged ridges and drop-offs, a strange silhouette emerges from the blue. A shark's body, but the head flares outward on both sides like a primitive stone hammer. The hammerhead shark family, Sphinidae. The dramatically widened head, known as the cephalofoil, may appear grotesque to human eyes, but beneath the ocean's surface, it functions as a complete and devastatingly efficient hunting system. Eyes positioned at each tip grant a vastly expanded field of vision. The head's surface bristles with hundreds of electroreceptors, the ampullae of Lorenzini. These organs detect faint electrical impulses from muscles, nerve fibers, and the heartbeat of living prey. Beneath fine sand, a stingray lies nearly motionless, its flattened body dusted with pale sediment, skin tone blending with the surrounding seabed, rendering it virtually invisible. But the hammerhead does not hunt by sight alone. Gliding low over the sand, the wide head sweeps gently from side to side like a living metal detector. A stingray can conceal its shape. It cannot conceal its heartbeat. At Yonaguni Island, the westernmost inhabited point of the entire Japanese archipelago, hammerhead sharks congregate in vast schools of 50 to over 200 individuals around underwater cleaning stations. From a distance, the spectacle resembles a phantom squadron drifting through the ocean. But the hammerhead's tragedy lies in a cruel and bitter irony. A creature exquisitely designed to read heartbeats, buried beneath sand, cannot sense the single greatest threat now stalking it. Fishing nets carry no heartbeat for the sensors to detect. Longline hooks emit no electrical pulse to trigger alarm. The scalloped hammerhead critically endangered, according to the IUCN Red List. Populations have plummeted by more than 80% in recent decades. When they vanish, the ocean loses its silent and irreplaceable sentinel. And the ocean's most intelligent and most feared predator, the one that makes every other creature in the sea tremble, draws closer now. A dorsal fin, nearly 6 feet tall, cleaves the ocean's surface with surgical precision. Then another fin appears. Then 5. Then 10. They move in absolute unison, no fin out of rhythm, no shadow falling behind. The orca, or Chinese orca. Most people call them killer whales, but that name ranks among the greatest misnomers in the history of biology. Orcas are not whales at all. They belong to the family Delphinidae, the oceanic dolphins. They are the largest dolphins on the planet. Adult males can reach 32 feet in length, weigh up to an imposing 8 tons, and achieve explosive burst speeds of 34.5 miles per hour, outpacing any shark species alive. But neither raw size nor explosive speed is what makes every creature in the ocean fear the orca above all others. It is the brain. The orca brain ranks among the most complex in the animal kingdom. Its insular cortex, governing emotion and social awareness, more elaborate than that of humans. Orcas do not merely hunt, they strategize. In the cold Norwegian fjords, orcas hunt Atlantic herring using a coordinated technique known as carousel feeding. The entire pod encircles the herring school, compressing thousands of fish into a single tight bait ball. Exhaled bubbles form an invisible curtain wall. Then each orca rolls gracefully and strikes the bait ball with a devastating tail fluke. Every blow precisely aimed, every blow deliberate. Each orca fulfills a designated role. In Antarctic waters, the strategy transforms entirely. Wave washing, perfectly synchronized swimming that generates powerful artificial waves, sweeping unsuspecting seals clean off their ice floes. A tactic demanding flawless coordination among 4 or 5 individuals swimming in tight formation. And this behavior is not innate. It is taught, practiced, and perfected over years. Mothers teach their calves through patient demonstration. Grandmothers teach their grandcalves. Each pod, the fundamental orca family unit, possesses its own hunting techniques, its own vocal dialect, its own dietary traditions. Scientists call this culture, a term once reserved exclusively for humans. In the northwestern Pacific Basin, at least 2 to 3 distinct orca ecotypes coexist. Residents specializing in salmon and other fish, transients specializing in hunting marine mammals, and the lesser-studied offshore population. Near Raosu, off eastern Hokkaido, orcas have been documented hunting stellar sea lions in direct attacks. But the moment that rewrote every rule in the ocean occurred elsewhere off the coast of South Africa. Two orcas, nicknamed Port and Starboard because their dorsal fins list in opposite directions, have single-handedly redrawn the ocean's entire map of power. They hunt great white sharks. Not by accident, not in self-defense, with a single purpose: to harvest the liver. Great white shark liver is rich in squalane, a concentrated energy source. Port and Starboard dissect their shark prey with surgical precision, flipping the great white belly up to trigger a state of tonic immobility, then extracting the nutrient-dense liver intact. The rest of the carcass is discarded. In 2023, Starboard accomplished something never before documented, killing a juvenile great white alone, completely solo, without port. When orcas appear in a stretch of ocean, great white sharks vanish, not for hours, not for days, but for months. Research from the Farallon Institute of Oceanography and data from Dr. Alison Towner in South Africa confirm the same conclusion. "400 million years of painstaking evolution, a body perfected down to each serrated tooth, a sensory system that surpasses all modern human technology, and every advantage must yield before a few million years of brain development." That is the answer to the question posed at the beginning of this film. The ocean does not belong to the strongest. It belongs to the most intelligent, and the most intelligent never hunts alone. On the Savanna, a lioness must hunt in a pride to prevail. Beneath the ocean, the orca has elevated that principle to a higher plane, not mere pack strength, but collective intelligence. But even the most intelligent remains fragile. Orcas defeat every rival the ocean can offer, but orcas cannot defeat the rising temperatures and acidification of a rapidly changing ocean. Intelligence cannot replace vanishing plankton. Culture cannot regenerate dying coral. The most complex brain in the entire ocean still depends upon a vast, interconnected web of life that it did not weave and cannot repair. The larger question is not who is strongest or smartest. The question is, does the ocean still have room for all of them? There is one creature in the ocean whose every appearance seems to slow time itself. "40 to 50 feet in length, pectoral fins spanning 1/3 of its body, the longest of any whale species. When it launches from the water, dozens of tons soaring skyward before crashing back in a white column of spray, no one knows with certainty why. The humpback whale, Megaptera novaeangliae. The scientific name translates roughly to big-winged creature from New England, a name lacking in geographic precision but brimming with accidental poetry. Each year, humpback whales migrate from the waters off Alaska and Russia to Japan's Ogasawara Islands, a one-way journey of 5,000 miles. One of the longest sustained migrations undertaken by any mammal species on Earth. In northern feeding grounds, they coordinate hunts through bubble net feeding. A group dives beneath a school of fish, exhaling bubbles in a spiraling ring to form an invisible net. Fish are corralled inside the bubble column. Then the entire group surges upward in unison. Mouths agape, thousands of gallons of water streaming through baleen plates, trapping the catch. Bubble net feeding is not instinct. It is a behavior that is learned passed from one generation to the next. Not all humpback populations know this technique. Only those with the tradition can execute it. But the humpback whale's most wondrous gift lies not in its mouth, it lies in its voice. Males sing. Each song stretches across 20 minutes or more, then repeats cycling for hours without pause. Every composition weaves together a complex sequence: low moans, high-pitched shrieks, percussive rhythms, and whistled phrases. Arranged into thematic structures with refrains, variations, and codas, and the songs evolve. Each breeding season, new phrases are woven into the composition. Songs spread from one population to another across vast distances, propagating west to east across the Pacific Basin, like a cultural trend traveling through an entire ocean. Scientists call this the song revolution, when an entire old song is replaced by a completely new melody originating from a neighboring population. A form of cultural transmission and creative renewal that was previously documented only in human societies. But the humpback whale's most inspiring story is not one of song. It is a story of resurrection against overwhelming odds. Roughly 10,000 individuals survived the industrial whaling era. Today, more than 80,000. Several populations have been removed from the endangered species list. Proof that when humanity steps back, nature can restore itself. But not every species has been so fortunate. Okinawa's corals, 400 species, among the most diverse on Earth, are dying. Bleaching events in 2016, 2017, 2022, and 2024 killed up to 70% of coral in some regions. When coral dies, the clownfish loses its home. Without anemones, without glycoprotein, no metamorphosis can offer salvation. Studies show clownfish mortality reaches 94 to 100% when their host anemones bleach. When coral reefs degrade, sea turtles lose nesting grounds, plankton declines, and small fish disappear. At least 11 million tons of plastic waste enter the oceans every year. Turtles swallow drifting plastic bags, mistaking them for jellyfish. Microplastics climb every rung of the food chain, from plankton to fish to sharks to orcas. "38% of all shark and ray species face the threat of extinction. The scalloped hammerhead, critically endangered. The whale shark endangered. The ocean sunfish vulnerable." A domino effect. Each broken link weakens the next. The whale shark, the single largest fish species on the planet, glides through the warm Pacific with unhurried grace, 60 feet in length, 40 tons of living weight. A mouth as wide as a garage door, yet it feeds exclusively on plankton and tiny organisms. A gentle filter feeder, the largest fish on Earth and paradoxically the most gentle. Each individual carries a unique constellation of white spots as distinctive as a human fingerprint. The Wild Book Conservation Program has identified more than 12,000 individual whale sharks through these natural markings. But the global population has declined by more than 50% in 75 years. The ocean's most peaceful inhabitant is also vanishing the fastest. Yet amid all this profound loss, hope endures and even flourishes. Humpback whales have rebounded from 10,000 battered survivors to more than 80,000. Japan has expanded its network of marine protected areas. Okinawa is replanting coral using sexual reproduction techniques. The Yakushima community guards turtle nesting beaches through the night. The ocean is sending signals. The question is whether humanity will listen. On the Savanna, the lioness will keep hunting because instinct will not let her stop. Beneath the ocean, orcas will keep hunting because inherited intelligence will not let them forget. But the future rests neither on a lion's instinct nor on an orca's intellect. It rests on the conscious choices of the only species on this planet that truly understands what it stands to lose. In the deep trenches of the Pacific, the humpback whale's song still resonates. On the distant savanna, the lion's roar still rumbles. The only question is, will anyone still be listening? Thank you for joining WildVerse on this journey. If this story moved, you share it. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next expedition. The cheetah, the fastest land animal on Earth, is a hunting machine forged by the relentless pressure of survival. On the open plains, it relies on its slender frame, lean muscle, and large lungs to reach speeds of over 60 miles per hour in just a few seconds. That explosive acceleration is not for show. It is the line between securing a meal and the hunger that threatens its young cubs. Its eyes, adapted for long-distance daytime vision, lock onto a target with almost unerring precision. But speed has its price. After a chase, the cheetah is exhausted, vulnerable to larger predators that might steal its hard-won prize. This constant risk reveals the fragility of a hunter that, though efficient, lives on the very edge of its energy reserves. In the hunt, every step is calculated. The cheetah selects the young, the weak, or the unwary, exploiting any lapse in the cohesion of the herd. It moves stealthily, using the sparse savanna vegetation for cover. When it reaches the ideal distance, usually under 300 feet, it launches like an arrow. The chase is astonishingly brief, lasting no more than 20 seconds. If the prey is not caught within that window, the hunt fails. If successful, a fatal bite to the throat ends the struggle. However, victory does not guarantee a meal. The cheetah must eat quickly before lions, hyenas, or vultures detect the kill and descend. Competition for food is a constant reality. Many times, this master of speed must yield to the brute force and numbers of opportunistic rivals. The species' survival also hinges on reproduction. A solitary mother raises her litter, hiding them in lairs and moving them often to avoid detection. Even so, the mortality rate for cheetah cubs is devastatingly high. Lions, jackals, and birds of prey are a constant threat to these defenseless young. The cheetah is at once an example of supreme specialization and a testament to biological fragility. It represents the harshest face of nature, a struggle for immediate success on a savanna teeming with rivals. While the cheetah dominates the plains with speed, in the woodlands, the power of cooperation reigns. Under the shade of acacia trees, the lion establishes its brutal dominion. The lion is the ultimate expression of collective strength among the great cats. Unlike the solitary cheetah, they operate in tightly structured prides. A male's mane is not merely ornamental. It is a layer of protection during violent confrontations. The more agile lionesses are central to the hunt, coordinating their attacks with astonishing precision. This cooperation is rare in the feline world and makes the lion a strategic and ruthless predator. Ambushes often occur at night or in the early morning, when cooler temperatures favor prolonged chases. The lionesses form a semicircle, while one moves ahead to separate a target from the herd. Once the prey is brought down, their collective strength ensures a swift death, but the scene is not always orderly. Brutality is not reserved for prey alone. Internal disputes are frequent, establishing a hierarchy for the right to feed first. The pride life of a lion, while offering a hunting advantage, is also fraught with peril. Dominant males must defend their prides from intruders. When a new male takes over, the brutality escalates. The cubs of the former leader may be killed to ensure only the new bloodline continues. This behavior, though cruel from a human perspective, is a natural strategy for ensuring genetic succession. On the Savanna, the lion's roar is an affirmation of power. This roar is more than a sound. It is a geopolitical weapon. With low frequencies that can travel for 5 miles, it is a wall of sound that warns all intruders, "This is my territory." And for stray pride members, it is a beacon, guiding them back home. Yet, survival demands ceaseless vigilance. A large clan of hyenas can challenge their authority, while a prolonged drought can decimate their prey. The lion is a balance of power, cooperation, and social brutality. Its presence shapes the behavior of all other species. The hunt has been a success. The collective power of the pride has triumphed once more. The feast begins, but on the Savanna, the sound of a successful hunt is a dinner bell for others. Two miles away, the Queen of Speed has heard. She is not interested in the feast. She is interested in the feasters. Lions are a mortal threat to her cubs. This is the price of speed, vulnerability. She can outrun any creature on the plains, but she cannot confront a lion. And now, she must move her family before trouble finds them. And trouble is on its way. The matriarch of the hyena clan has heard. For her, this is not a threat. This is an opportunity. Her calls are a complex code, summoning the clan. They are formidable hunters in their own right, and they have the numbers and the jaw strength to challenge even lions. And now, two of Africa's most relentless predators confront each other in a war of possession. Collective strength versus opportunistic endurance. For the smaller predators, the clash of titans means only one thing: stay clear. On this savanna, you are both the hunter and the hunted. While the lion imposes its strength on the open plains, amidst the thickets and rocky outcrops, another cat employs the opposite strategy. The leopard, a solitary, silent, and stealthy creature, survives not by collective might, but by the art of concealment and camouflage. The leopard is a predator of contrasts, a formidable power in a relatively compact body combined with absolute discretion. Its rosette-spotted coat blends with the dappled light of the canopy or the shadows of boulders. The leopard is a master of camouflage. In near total silence, it observes its surroundings, calculating every move with patience and precision. But its most impressive feature is its extraordinary strength. It can haul prey significantly heavier, sometimes twice its own body weight, up into a tree. Unlike other predators, it prefers to take its prize aloft. There, secured amongst sturdy branches, it can eat in safety, far from hyenas and lions. A solitary life demands constant vigilance. Every battle, every meal, is the result of its own skill. Females raise their young alone, hiding them in dens or thick brush. Cub mortality is very high, largely due to attacks by other predators. Among Africa's great cats, the leopard is the most adaptable. It thrives in diverse environments, from savanna to forests and mountainous regions. Its ability to camouflage, its silent strength, and its strategic intelligence make the leopard a solitary hunter, brutal in its action, yet invisible until the final moment. As the leopard conceals itself in the trees, on the open plains, a predator with a completely opposite demeanor emerges. The African wild dog. In contrast to silent solitude, their brutality lies in supreme cooperation. The African wild dog, also known as the painted wolf, is one of the continent's most efficient predators. Their strength is in their cooperation. A pack can number more than 20 individuals, each playing a specific role in the hunt. This organization turns a chase into an almost military execution. Their hunting technique is based on persistence. Unlike the explosive attacks of felines, wild dogs pursue their prey over long distances, exploiting their exhaustion. When the victim is exhausted, the group attacks in coordination, bringing it down with brutal efficiency. The brutality of the pack is evident in the collective kill. The dogs begin to feed immediately, often while the animal is still alive. This act, though cruel to human eyes, reduces the risk of the kill being stolen by other predators. Their social structure is also remarkable. There is an alpha pair responsible for breeding, while the others cooperate to raise the young. When the pack returns from a hunt, they regurgitate food for the pups and also for injured or weaker members. This is the incredible paradox of the painted wolf. Their hunt is among the most brutal spectacles in nature, yet their social structure is one of the most altruistic. Upon their return, they regurgitate food not just for the pups, but for the sick and injured members who stayed behind. Here, brutality gives birth to compassion. This solidarity contrasts with the violence of the hunt, revealing a balance between brutality and communal care. However, the wild dog's existence faces constant threats. They compete with lions and hyenas for territory and food. The wild dog is an exceptional predator, ruthless in its collective hunts, yet dependent on rare social bonds. While wild dogs dominate the savanna with discipline, in other areas, an equally formidable rival operates through numbers and opportunism. The spotted hyena, often underestimated, displays its own form of brutality, reinforced by the power of the clan and the ability to challenge even the largest predators. Often dismissed as mere scavengers, they are in fact formidable hunters, capable of taking down large prey when operating in groups. Their powerful build, incredibly strong jaws, and teeth adapted for crushing bone make them experts at maximizing every carcass. Their bite force is one of the strongest among carnivorous mammals, allowing them to break down structures other predators must leave behind. The spotted hyena's hunting strategy is based on endurance and cooperation. They pursue large prey over long distances until it is exhausted. The social life of hyenas is complex and matriarchal. Females dominate males and lead clans that can number over 80 individuals. The brutality is not confined to the hunt. The hyena's brutality begins at birth. Pups are born with their eyes open and a full set of teeth, and within minutes will fight to the death to eliminate their siblings. It is a merciless internal purge, ensuring only the strongest receives the mother's milk. Their piercing, cackling calls are one of the most recognizable sounds of the savanna. It is not a sign of mirth, but a complex code of communication. A large group of hyenas can challenge lions, even driving them from their own kills, showcasing their courage and aggression. Despite their brutality, hyenas play a vital ecological role, helping to control herbivore populations and cleaning up carcasses, thus reducing the spread of disease. The spotted hyena is a predator that combines endurance, cooperation, and brutality at every stage of its life. In every corner of wild Africa, the brutality of nature is a non-negotiable law. The cheetah exploits its maximum speed. The lion maintains collective strength. The leopard dominates with stealth. The wild dog executes organized hunts. The spotted hyena imposes endurance and opportunism. Different strategies, different bodies, but a shared goal: to survive in an environment where a mistake costs a life. The drama of the wild is not confined to direct confrontations. The constant competition between species and the daily struggle script a scenario in which every predator is both hunter and prey. In this land of relentless predators, there is no room for lingering error. Tomorrow is never guaranteed. Only those who adapt to nature's harsh demands can perpetuate their lineage, revealing to the lens the truest and most unforgiving face of the wild. As the growls of the savanna fade, we leave the heat and dust for an arena far vaster and more mysterious. A world untouched by sunlight, where the violence of the hunt yields to an ancient consciousness, expressed not in blood, but in symphonies that echo across the oceans. Deep beneath the waves, far beyond our sight, another consciousness resides. An ancient intelligence, composing intricate sagas that resonate across the vastness of the seas. And we call them whales. This is the story of the largest animal that has ever lived on our planet. A giant with a heart the size of a motor car, yet it remains cloaked in the profoundest of mysteries. And that is not all. Its tongue alone weighs as much as a fully grown elephant. Its blood vessels are so vast, a person could swim through them. This is more than just a colossal creature. It is a living, breathing ecosystem on the move. We are only just beginning to unravel the complexities of their social worlds and their epic migrations. Yet, as we begin to listen, we realize just how fragile these titans truly are. Threatened by the very planet they help to sustain, they now stand upon a precipice. Can we truly understand them before their songs fall silent for all time? On our planet, the whale family is divided into two primary groups: toothed whales and baleen whales. Toothed whales, like dolphins and sperm whales, are the ocean's active hunters. Baleen whales, on the other hand, are the great filter feeders of the sea. The fundamental difference lies in their mouths. Toothed whales possess sharp teeth designed for seizing prey. Baleen whales, in contrast, have no teeth. Instead, they possess plates of baleen that hang from the upper jaw, functioning as an enormous filter. Toothed whales typically have more streamlined bodies and greater speed, enabling them to perform breathtaking deep dives. Baleen whales possess more massive, robust bodies. They travel at a slower pace and tend to feed closer to the surface. Despite their many differences, both groups are close relatives, members of a single, great family of marine mammals. Their sheer scale is an evolutionary marvel, allowing them to command their aquatic realm and occupy a pivotal position in the marine ecosystem. The blue whale is perhaps the largest animal ever to have existed on Earth. It can reach lengths of nearly 100 feet and weigh close to 220 tons. The heart of a blue whale can be as large as a motor car. Another remarkable species is the humpback whale, renowned for its spectacular aerial breaches. They can be around 50 feet long and weigh up to 44 tons. Their name derives from the characteristic hump on their back, an energy reserve for their long migrations. The tail flukes of a blue whale alone can be more than 16 feet wide. For a whale, the tail is its engine, a powerful architecture of muscle and sinew generating the immense thrust required to navigate the water. There are, of course, smaller whales like the minke whale, which measures only about 26 feet long. Even so, the very smallest among them remain giants by human standards. Whales possess a remarkably complex system of sound communication used for contact and orientation. One of the most famous of these vocalizations is the whale song. These intricate melodies can last for hours, varying with time and place. It remains one of nature's greatest mysteries. Scientists believe these songs serve many functions, from communication and attracting mates to warning of danger and defining territory. The sound is produced within the whale's head and can travel for hundreds, even thousands of miles underwater. What is astounding is that sometimes multiple individuals will sing together, creating elaborate, resonant choruses. The Hawaiian Islands are one of the most celebrated places to listen to this cetacean symphony during their migration season. Beyond singing, they employ a myriad of other sounds for communication and navigation. To see in the dark waters, toothed whales use a system of echolocation. They emit sound waves and then interpret the returning echoes, allowing them to construct a detailed acoustic map of their surroundings. This system is so refined that they can determine the size, shape, speed, and exact location of their prey. It also helps them locate each other across the vast ocean, assisting in finding mates and forming protective pods. The sperm whale, for instance, produces immensely powerful clicks. They are, in effect, a sonic weapon. Reaching up to 230 decibels, it is the loudest sound produced by any living creature. The shockwave is powerful enough to stun, or even kill, prey such as giant squid from a distance. They hunt not only with teeth, but with sound itself. Blue whales, meanwhile, produce low-frequency infrasound, between 10 and 40 Hz, which can travel even farther for communication across entire ocean basins. However, noise pollution from shipping and human activities is disrupting the acoustic world of whales, severely affecting their ability to forage and to communicate. A whale's respiratory system is another extraordinary adaptation to its life beneath the waves. It is, in itself, a phenomenal piece of engineering. Upon surfacing, in just 1 or 2 seconds, a blue whale can exchange up to 90% of the air in its colossal 1,300-gallon lungs. But they are not the deepest divers. That distinction belongs to other species. Other species, like the killer whale or orca, are apex predators, using their sharp teeth to hunt fish, seals, and sea lions. The grey whale, meanwhile, forages along the seabed, churning up sediment to uncover crustaceans. Their methods of feeding are both ingenious and diverse. Humpback whales employ a technique known as bubble net feeding. They swim in a shrinking circle beneath a school of fish, releasing a curtain of bubbles. This bubble net corrals their prey into a tight ball. But this is no random act. Each hunt begins with a specific feeding call, initiated by a single whale. The team coordinates perfectly, spiraling upwards and lunging to the surface in synchrony. This is more than instinct. It is a calculated tactic, a hunting culture passed from one generation to the next. Then, they need only surge upwards from below, mouths wide open, to swallow their feast. Whales are social animals, often living in groups known as pods. The size of a pod can range from just a few individuals to several hundred. Social structure can differ between species. Killer whales, for example, have a highly complex matriarchal society. In a killer whale pod, the oldest female is the matriarch, leading her entire family on hunts and migrations. Communication is the key to their social bonds. Sounds, songs, and body language enable them to coordinate hunts and defend one another. Typically, larger and more powerful males have an advantage when competing for a mate. During the breeding season, males may display their prowess through breathtaking aerial shows or fierce physical contests. Some species even engage in communal courtship rituals, where several males will perform elaborate dances and songs for a single female. To increase the chances of fertilization, the testes of male whales are of a colossal size. The testes of a North Atlantic right whale can have a combined weight of nearly 1 ton, the largest in the entire animal kingdom. Water temperature also plays a critical role. Most whale species breed in waters between 4 and 20 degrees Celsius. Following mating, the female undergoes a long gestation period, usually from 11 to 12 months. During their pregnancy, they continue their daily activities, but need substantially more food to nourish the growing fetus. A mother whale gives birth to only a single calf at a time. This makes the continuation of the species a slow and perilous process. The calf is born directly into the water and is immediately nursed by its mother. The bond between mother and calf is exceptionally strong. The nursing period can extend for several years. For the first few weeks of its life, the calf remains constantly at its mother's side, where it is fed, nurtured, and shielded from all harm. Whale milk is one of the richest on the planet, with a fat content as high as 50%, giving it the consistency of toothpaste. On this rocket fuel, a blue whale calf can gain up to 200 pounds each day. It is the fastest rate of growth in the entire animal kingdom. Each year, they journey from the food-rich waters of the Arctic to the warm lagoons of Mexico to give birth, a remarkable round-trip migration. The behavior of whales is a mesmerizing spectacle, playing a crucial role in their communication and social lives. Breaching, the act of launching the body out of the water, is one of their most impressive displays. Scientists are not entirely certain why they do this. It could be a form of communication, a method for removing parasites, or perhaps a way to stun their prey. When a giant, like a humpback whale, launches itself into the air, it can clear a height of 50 feet. The resulting splash creates a tremendous wave, powerful enough to capsize a small boat. Another common behavior is tail slapping. This could be a warning signal, or another form of communication within the pod. Whatever the reason, these powerful displays are a breathtaking phenomenon, leaving a lasting impression on any who are fortunate enough to witness them. Whales play an indispensable role in the marine ecosystem. As top predators, they help regulate the populations of fish and other sea creatures. They also play a vital role in the planet's carbon cycle. Over the course of their long lives, their immense bodies accumulate a great deal of carbon. When a whale dies, its body sinks to the ocean floor, carrying that stored carbon down and locking it away in the deep for centuries. But their contribution does not end in death. In life, their waste plumes are the lifeblood of the oceans. These huge plumes of nutrients, rich in iron and nitrogen, fertilize the phytoplankton at the ocean's surface. These tiny organisms are not only the foundation of the marine food web, they also generate at least 50% of the planet's oxygen. In a very real sense, every other breath we take is linked to these giants of the deep. This process helps to reduce atmospheric carbon dioxide and regulate the global climate. Whales are, in essence, among the most captivating and majestic creatures on our planet. Their staggering size, their intelligence, and their unique behaviors have captivated humankind for centuries. Although human activities have driven many species to the verge of extinction, there is still hope for their future. Conservation organizations around the world are working tirelessly to protect and help whale populations recover. By learning more about whales, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the natural world and our place in it. By supporting conservation efforts, we can help ensure that these magnificent creatures continue to flourish for generations to come.